it. Then when I was looking back and I was comparing myself to all these other women and what they were creating and then what I was doing, I actually noticed myself catching those thoughts and then telling myself, actually, I'm just a newbie and it's my first time doing this thing. And even if it's 70%, you've done it, you know? You've taken that first, it's like cooking. You can't be an expert at cooking if you've never cooked potatoes. Like, you know what I mean? That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I love this.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so true. So this is interesting you name this, because the comparison piece has been coming up so strong for me recently. And for those who don't know, I do a lot of work with rewiring and rewriting the sisterhood wound. So if you're not familiar with like what is that, well, the easiest, simplest way that I can summarize it is basically when you notice yourself comparing yourself to other women, when you notice yourself criticizing maybe yourself or other women, they seem to be the two like really strong ones for me, comparison and criticism. It's rewiring and rewriting those into, instead of comparing, celebrating you for all that you are, for all that you're doing, for all that you're being, for how you're learning, you know, for the ways that you're just showing up and persevering on this path and this process, but also celebrating them, celebrating their achievements, their successes, their failures, like just being there to support yourself and your sisters. And with criticism, I might have got it the wrong way around. My own method, because with criticism it's that celebration piece. When it comes to comparison, it's actually cultivating compassion for yourself, cultivating compassion for your sisters and their path and their process and their uniqueness. And it's like when we can step out of comparison and criticism and into compassion and celebration, like what a transformative experience. Yes, for ourselves, but for all of our sisters. And this is what I start to weave in, especially with teenagers, but honestly it starts so much younger with kids these days. Even like, you know, as young as 8 or even below that, just reminding ourselves not to compare. Actually, my 6-year-old niece and my 4-year-old niece yesterday, we had a lesson in this, that comparison piece and choosing compassion instead. So if you're a mama out there or even a dad listening in, you can teach them so young. And it was incredible because I was witnessing my niece, especially the 6-year-old, really in that comparison place and criticism, that jealousy. And I was like, no, I've been here, you can choose differently. And just weaving those little lessons in with life. And it's like, it's so valuable. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because that's like on point right now.
My dance teacher actually said that she had her son, who was 6, who they were at the beach. He had his shirt on at the beach, and the mum was like, "Oh, take your shirt off, like we're at the beach, you know." And he goes, "No, I don't want to take a shirt off." Mum was like, "Why?" He was saying, "Oh, I don't want other people looking at me. I'm fat." He's 6. He's 6, you know. And so his mum had to be like, "It's all right. Your body's fine. Love yourself. Don't worry about them." But the compassion part and the celebration part, I think that's the change in I mean, certainly myself. I can't say for all people, but you know, I know that everything is vibration. And if I guess this is a great example. If you're out partying and you've got that one person who's celebrating their birthday and they're blowing out the cake and everyone's there, yeah, woo-hoo, and then you're the one person at the back like having a pity party because it's not your birthday, and you know, like everyone else's attention's on someone else, but it's not me. You're missing out. You're so missing out, because you could be a part of that, celebrating them, celebrating with them, and then you're feeling that, and then you can take that into your life. And then when it's your birthday, I really guarantee that someone's going to want to celebrate with you because you're the person that's excited. No one wants to hang out with the person who's doom and gloom and grumpy in the corner. Not all the time anyway. Sometimes it's good to be there, but yeah, I just want to plant that seed. Yeah.
I feel more tangents coming on here because like that insecurity piece you were naming before. Like, again, this is a huge part of the work that I do with children as young as 6. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, not okay to I mean, beautiful that mom was really encouraging a different belief to come through, but I work with really rewiring that from the roots of where that comes from in children and adults. And yeah, it's true, like, just allowing ourselves to be in whatever expressions come through, but also knowing that just showing up for ourselves means that we can show up for others. And it's like so powerful what that can shift and create for us in our lives. And the possibilities and potentials that actually get to come into our reality because we're open to just saying yes and taking that leap and jumping with 2 feet and just going, fuck yeah, life. you know?
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Tangents. I was really just thinking, like, in terms of what we're talking about, it's about taking the little steps. But I guess an example of that is the way that I grew up was I would go to school, I would catch an hour bus, I would get home, then we would do our homework, do like food prep, dinner while the news is on. And then we would sit on the lounge for an hour or go to our rooms. And that was it. And there wasn't really any time where we were playing or, hanging out with our parents or anything like that. It was like parents are doing their thing and we're doing our thing. And I just want to drop a little note of what I love in conscious parenting, because these parents are choosing to play with their children. So the kids will get home from school, then the parents might even be excited to pick up the kids, and then they go on an adventure together, and then they play, and then, okay, we're gonna do some homework, all right, let's do that, like, woohoo, and then let's be excited about life and involve our children in that experience. So there's not this separation of, oh, I'm the adult, I'm gonna cook, you're gonna sit in front of the TV or the device and entertain yourself, which really, what I'm seeing in the people that I talk to is those habits of sitting in front of the TV and separation is actually what's creating all the wounding, all the self-doubt, all the insecurities, worthiness, love that we have as adults, because everything is absolutely connected to our childhood. So would love to see more adults really bringing in those habits and awarenesses of, oh my gosh, I just snapped at my child, or oh my goodness, I just told my kid to go and sit in front of a TV when they actually really want to help me cook.
100% loving this, because again, so on point. Even just noticing the difference in my day when I choose to be present and play. So as you know, Chloe, I have this growing kitten at the moment, and I've been away from him for a few days. And it's choosing to be present with him in the morning and go out into the garden, and he gets to climb trees and he's having a great time. He's literally smiling at me because he's like so happy and in his element. And it's like, it's lighting me up. It's grounding me into that peaceful presence so that I can flow through my day. And hanging out with my nieces yesterday as well, I was noticing those parts of me that are like, oh shit, I've got so much to do, and I intended to be working all of yesterday, and going, okay, well, they're here. How can I receive them into my day? How can we share this experience together and allow there to be space for all of it? Like, yes, I need to tend to some work over here, but yes, I can be playful and present with you here. And like, just flowing with one another. And you're so right, and I'm so glad you named it, because as you know, transform traumas into treasures is like my thing, personally and professionally. And what I think a lot of people don't fully comprehend is that traumas or wounding happens in the most minute ways and from so early on. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big event that happened. It can be something so seemingly small and insignificant, but to a little girl or boy, that can just be so torturesome, and it can create those limiting beliefs and scarcity stories, or you know, those really traumatizing thoughts about ourselves. And then we just continue to project those experiences in our life where we're just constantly having that reflected back to us. And it's like, this is what I'm passionate about, is helping adults and children realize like how we show up and how we be sharing ourselves within us and around us creates such a powerful ripple and effect on one another, and just bringing more conscious awareness to that. So like, fully on point, girl. I love this. Thank you.
The example, I've been reading this book, There's No Plan B for Your A Game. Highly recommend. There are so many nuggets in it. There were two kids, twins, boy and girl. Girl ran into the room. She must have been 5, 6. Ran into the room. Hey, Dad, good night. Hugs, kisses, all the things. Goes, boy, hey, Dad. And the dad goes, nope, we handshake now. And the boy goes, what? You give her a big hug and I get a handshake? And then the kid almost instantly became dissociated with his dad, didn't know how to talk to his dad, had no connection with his dad, couldn't talk to his dad. They weren't close. There was no human physical touch, which is a huge love language, you don't know. And then that played out in his life. They became separated. Dad wanted to be in his life, didn't know why. Dad became abusive. And then the child now is an adult. That child then started becoming abusive to his child. And when in one instance, when he was choking his son, the little boy, the handshake, was now choking his son. He caught himself and he just spun out and he goes, no more. I just got full tingles because he realized, fuck, I am just repeating the story and the thing that my dad to me, and I don't want to do that to my son. And because he caught himself so early, he could then have these really powerful conversations with his son to make his son realize that, oh, it's not about me, which, it doesn't, you can do a lot of work around that and still have a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on as you're an adult. But kudos to him. And I think this is what we're all talking about when you had your moment of like, I'm done with this roller coaster of feeling this way or treating myself this way. And then my roller coaster, that was his moment. That was his moment of like, wow. And that's why I talk a lot about conditioning. That is conditioning in its most beautiful, traumatic example. And it can go to so many other layers, of course. But yeah, huge.
It is huge. And this is honestly probably through all of the books, Magdalene Rising, Sovereign, Jaguar Medicine, but Jaguar most especially, I actually map this out for my own personal experiences and through my family lineage, and highlight how these imprints from these experiences that one had then get passed on down the line until one day someone wakes up and goes, enough is enough.
Yeah.
And it takes a fuckload of courage for that person and a shitload of vulnerability to move through to actually be that courageous and go, no, enough is enough. We're not playing this story, this pattern, this program on repeat anymore. And I love what you named. I'm going to see if I can grab it again. God, it's so good, but it's gone hazy on me now, of course. So I'll see if it comes back, but it's just, it's a really, really passionate topic for me personally and professionally, is like highlighting for people to be aware of this, because it's actually, it's not just like, it affects every layer of our being, energetically, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And yeah, sometimes, like we've highlighted, sometimes those can be such minute, small details that are seemingly insignificant but create a big deal. And other times they can be so incredibly traumatic, some of the most inhumane behavior that can be experienced. And you just reminded me with that handshake, it's like it being a love language, human touch, loving human touch and connection is also one of our most basic survival needs. Like, honestly, beyond food and water, even, like, we need human connection and loving touch at its purity, at its most innocent form, to be allowed back into like our experiences in ourselves, and then within our family and our friends, our communities, our collective. And it's probably some of the biggest wounding playing out in humanity right now, is like how much touch is either one, not given or available or received, or two, how it then becomes abusive touch from that, being deprived of that need. It's fucking phenomenal. And this all affects our psychology. Like, this affects us every layer of our well-being. So yeah, I could go on a massive tangent about that, but I just, yeah, felt to share that much at least.
Girl, I think it's time to wrap it up.
We've been on so many cool waves here today. I really hope anyone tuning in that you're receiving value from this, because there's so many little golden nuggets dropping in. What a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Beauty.